And I think I'm now recording. Welcome everyone on this cool fall day. It's lovely outside. I hope everyone has a nice cup of tea or coffee or something to help them stay warm and cozy while we go through this Canvas basics. And by basics, I mean basics. We're going to start with the assumption that at first you don't know anything at all about Canvas, and then we'll build on that. Part of the importance of doing this is to help you begin thinking with a canvas mindset, or I like to say a canvas brain. For a long time, here at Jackson, we've been using Moodle, JetNet. And over time, when you work with any technology or actually any kind of environment, you're going to start adapting to that, and your brain will actually pattern itself in ways that help you become more efficient in working with that. Now it's time to start thinking about developing a canvas brain. So that's what we're going to be working on today, in part by doing this Canvas basics. So as we transition, I'm going to turn my camera off because I'm going to stop looking towards you. I'm going to start looking at this screen, and I'm going to share my computer screen, which is just a Canvas course that we will be looking at. So let me go to my camera. Share. All right, so now we should be looking at a Canvas course on screen. This is essentially where you end up when you sign in to Canvas, and we call this the dashboard. You'll see it right over here on the what we call the global menu. And that's the first thing I want to point out to you in this tour of Canvas. As you think about Canvas, different than Moodle, is the very first thing that you need to pay attention to is this left side menu that I'll usually call left side menu or global menu. This is an important menu, and it's a persistent menu. It's going to be visible anytime you're in Canvas. And on this menu, you have this return to a home state, back to your dashboard. You also have the dashboard link right here. You have your account link. I have an admin link because I have an administrator account. You won't see that. A courses link, a calendar link, an inbox, a history, Commons, Studio, and help. Very quickly, I'm going to give you an introduction to those, but I'm not going to go deeply into any of those yet. Your account is where you access things like your profile, your notifications, and other things that are useful to you when you're in Canvas. So I want you to remember that that's one you're going to be using a lot. The dashboard is one you're going to get very used to because that's where you are going to, I see people in the lobby. Sonia, if you are able, can you let people in when that
Yep.
happens?
Yep. Don't worry about that. I got your back. I'll open the
Awesome.
door.
Much appreciated. So this, you're going to become very familiar with this, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Courses is an important one because this is where you can access all of your courses. The dashboard will not necessarily show you all of your courses when you are more into Canvas and you have many more courses there. I'll talk more about that later. Calendar is a calendar, much like we have in Moodle or JetNet, and it's something that you and your students will get used to using, and I think you'll find that it has some pretty good utility. All right, so in your calendar, you can see that there are different calendars, one for every course, and then your master calendar. Your inbox. This is in the Moodle brain, if you think about that little bubble up here on the top right, well, that's what this is here. This is your in-Canvas messaging system inbox. History is stuff that has been done. I haven't played much around with this, haven't really found where I need this yet. More on that as we learn it. Commons is a very new feature to us. Moodle doesn't have anything quite like this. Commons is a sharing space, and it has different levels. We can share things with people at Jackson College, but this is also where you can access information and things that are shared from anywhere in any Canvas user. Studio is an add-on to Canvas. This is a media production and media hosting site. Very powerful tool. We'll have a training on just this. But you can think about this, if you've ever used Camtasia, Screencast-O-Matic, etc., it's a tool like that, which gives you some editing functions. It includes screen capture, webcam capture, and so on. And you can also add things in here, even if you didn't produce them in the studio. And then from there, they can be served to your various classes. And then the help button, that's where you go for help. And Canvas, like Moodle, has a pretty extensive user community where you can find answers to just about everything. And I can safely say that 90% of what I know about Canvas comes from reading those help files. So when I'm trying to do something and I can't figure it out, I go right to those help files. And it's, for me, faster than going through long video trainings. And I recommend that you check that out in the help. All right, so now, again, global menu, those are the items on there. So now let's talk about getting to your course. So you go to your dashboard, and there are two types of courses. There's the published courses, which means that your students could access these, and then your unpublished courses, meaning that students cannot access them, but that you can. And then here, the courses menu. Here are all of the courses that you could potentially look at. Now, you will see that they are not going to necessarily all be in your Canvas dashboard. Kind of defaults to about 20 visible. You can stretch that a little bit more. And if you want to, by looking at all courses, see these little stars? If you click to put a star in that space, then that star will make that course appear on your Canvas dashboard. So this is an important one to remember. Go to courses, all courses, and then click to make a star, fill it in with the gold or orange color, and that will make sure that that appears on your dashboard. Back to my dashboard. So finding your course is usually going to be just a simple matter of going to your dashboard, but sometimes you might go here. And then all you need to do is click on the course, and that will then have you enter the course. Now, the first thing I want to point you to now is, now that you're in a course, you have an additional menu here. And this is what we call the course menu. This is a menu that is in all courses. This little 3-line here allows you to open and close that like a drawer. Close it and open it, so that if it's in your way, or if it goes away, you know that you can click on those 3 lines in order to show it again. So in the course, you have a variety of things, and I'll go over some of them for you now. Some of them you'll be very familiar. Home is whatever you see when you first enter the course, and you have choices about that. Modules are whatever the content is that students would see, and this is a lot like the default Moodle view. So if you want to think what my course looks like in Moodle, think modules. That's what the course will be. And this is where your students and you will engage with each other and with the content of the class. Assignments is kind of like two things. So it combines a couple of things that we think of from Moodle. First thing is, it's assignments. You can create assignments, drop boxes, and so on. And this is where students can submit work for you to grade, upload a paper, etc. But assignments is also part of what we used to think of in Moodle as the gradebook, because it is here in assignments that we create grade groupings. In Moodle, we would call those categories. And this is where we can also do grade weighting by those categories or groups, now that we're thinking in our Canvas brain. So think of assignments as two things. It's assignments, but it's also kind of like gradebook setup in a way in Moodle, because this is where you can create those grade groups. This is where you can create new assignments. You can also create the grade weighting if you use that. Discussions, just like you would think it is, this is where your discussions are housed. Those discussions can be created here. You can add new discussions, but you can also access them here as well. Announcements are just like announcements in Moodle. They are announcements that you can make to your class that gets sent out to the class as an announcement. They can also access it if you make those announcements available. The syllabus is not like we think of as the syllabus. The syllabus think of it maybe more like a to-do list, but you can also add your syllabus here if you choose to do so. And right now, some instructors are doing that. Others are saying, I think it's confusing, and I choose as an instructor to keep that hidden. That's why it's here. So my students don't even see it. They don't even know that that is there. And instead, I provide the usual syllabus that I do. And that's something that you can decide. People, just like participants in Moodle, this is where you can see all of your course people and who is enrolled in the class. Quizzes, just like you would think, this is where quizzes can be created and stored. And this is how you can access that. Grades, a lot like the Moodle gradebook, it is a spreadsheet view with the name of your student here and any assignments across here. Some differences, though, in the gradebook. We don't go to the gradebook to do weighting. Remember, that's in assignments. Okay, I'm going to open up my course menu. Did you see how when I went to grades, it hid my course menu? So I just click here to show it. Now, Big Blue Button. Not just like Big Blue Button. It is Big Blue Button like we have in Moodle. It doesn't have all of the same feature sets. There are some differences. So if you're happy with Big Blue Button, continue to use it, but know that it works a little differently here in Canvas. Collaborations are other ways to have meetings and working interactions with students and between students. We'll have a training on that later in this series. Pages are just like pages in Moodle. They are a web page that you can create with a what you see is what you get editor and other things, and they're used quite frequently, including one way that I'll be talking about very soon. Files. This is something that's a bit different than what we think of as Moodle, although there were files in Moodle. But in Canvas, files are a little more upfront. They're right here in your class. You can access them easily. You can also access all of your files from your account. But these are the files that are potentially being used in this class. And even if they're not being used in the class, they could be used in the class, and that's important later. Outcomes. Some instructors are playing with outcomes. There are some outcomes in Canvas that we have been loaded. We did that for training on outcomes. You'll be seeing more about outcomes coming forward. Jamie Vandenberg will be talking about that when she is working with CBE and other things. Rubrics, just like in Moodle, although separated from the assignment thing, but rubrics are rubrics where you can create rubrics that you can use to do grading. LibApps, that is to do to access the library LibGuides. Microsoft Teams meeting, which we're using today. Ally, which is important. If I don't remember, remind me. I do want to show that real quickly at the end. And then settings, also very important in your class. All right, so now from my course menu, remember global menu, course menu. I'm going to go back to the home page. This is the page that you see when you first come in. We've talked about the course menu. Now I want to talk to you about this, which I would consider to be the content area. This is where you and your students will be interacting with content and each other. In the home page right now, I have a page operational. And this is something that's different than Moodle. In Moodle, our default view, and really for a long time, the only view was what we now think of as the module. Later on, remember, there was the grid format and collapsed topics and things like that if you've been around for a while. Well, Canvas offers some options for that kind of display here. So right now, I have in this class, this empty class, I have imported this, what's now called the modern template. This was the template that was, by most people's accounting, the most popular one that we had in that globe or that walkthrough that we did, kind of a gallery walk of different options for a default template. You don't have to use it, but it is there. There are other templates that you can use if you want to go this route. The idea of a home page is when a student enters your class, this is the very first thing that they see the very first time they come to your class. So you really want to think about how is it you present what you do. You will want to put some information about yourself. We really recommend putting a picture of you, especially if this is an online class. Think about it like this. In an online class, you want to make the students feel welcomed in this space. So if you think about your face-to-face class, you come to your class and you greet students as they come through the door. Well, at an online class, the very first time they come to your class, the very first time they come through your door, this is what they see. And I think it's an important way to establish instructional presence if you have at least your picture here, maybe even a welcome video here, and enough information to help them get oriented to the very first day of class. Now, you in Canvas have the option, you can change this all you want. You can change it after the first week of class to something like the module view if you want. And that's something that I want to show you now, and that is how to set the home page. So here we have the home page. Over here, I want to call this course tools over here on this right-hand side. These are tools that you use in the course. And there are a variety of tools. We won't go through every one of them now, but one that you might want to know about is importing from Commons or existing content if you're a lead faculty. Choosing the home page is the one that I want to talk about now. So if I click on Choose Home Page, you're going to see that there are 5 options for a home page. First is the activity stream. The activity stream are those things that are in what's known as the activity stream. A lot of times you'll see those over here on the right-hand side. Those are things that are messages from you sent in the announcements. It could be for you, it could be things that you might need to know about or grade. And for students, it could be things that are to do, things that are coming up that they need to do. This is the kind of thing that I don't see us using a lot here at Jackson College, except for some certain circumstances, because you can get to the activity stream in other ways, and I don't think it provides enough of all of the information that students need as a home page, but it's there if you want to use that. Your next option is pages, and that's the one that we had currently. So if I want to go back to that, I just choose it and save it. The next one is course modules, and this is a very common one. In fact, when we were looking at Canvas, one of the things I did was I contacted 5 different colleges that use Canvas here in the state of Michigan that I happen to know people from or was able to get connected to. And I asked them, what do you do for your default home page? And every single one of them said, we tried a bunch of different things. We ended up using modules as the default. Now, a lot of instructors at those institutions change the front page, but they choose the module view as the default page in case no one knows how to change it, or just what seems to be most useful. And I can really understand that. Just like Moodle, this provides the student immediate access to everything that they need to interact with in the course. So modules is a good choice for the homepage. Next, assignments list. This one I didn't understand. Why in the world would you only want assignments on there? Till I found out that assignments can include things like quizzes and other things. And I was talking to this with someone who I know uses Canvas, happens to be my wife. And I said, what do you use as a homepage? And she said, assignments. And I said, really? That doesn't make sense to me. And she explained it very simply. She teaches face-to-face. Her class has no online component at all. It's not hybrid. And in fact, everything is done face-to-face. The only thing that she has assignments for is to create a grade book. And she said when students use Canvas, they might need to log in to access something or just to remind themselves what is due when they turn it into me in class, a lab report, a test, or something like that. So that I could see that. If you're teaching in a fully face-to-face class, I could see how the assignments page as your homepage could make sense. If you teach a CEP, this might make sense as a way for, I know that some of our CEP participants give their access to people on the outside, and they rely on them to communicate what's in Canvas to them. So that might make sense in that case. All right, and then finally, the syllabus is another option. If you're using this syllabus tool, this puts the syllabus as the first thing on here. And as we'll probably see later, that kind of makes sense because of this course summary. The course summary will communicate to students what's due, a lot like the assignments page does, as well as giving you the option of putting some information here. The danger, of course, is if you put a lot of stuff up here using this edit function, you can put anything you want to in there. But if you put pages and pages and pages there, then I think that becomes less usable, because then the course summary is pushed so far down that students won't ever see it. All right, so those are the home pages. Now, going back to the home page, going to the pages, which is what was going on here, you can also choose a different page as your home page. You can edit this page and make it anything you want. So for example, you can type in your course name, you can give your own welcome, you can put your picture in place of the default picture there, and so on. You can edit that, but you can also choose a different home page. So if you see right up here this button called View All Pages, I click on that, and that brings me to my list of all pages that are in here in my class. And if I want to, I can choose a different page as my home page. I call that over here. So see this three, what do we call these? We call these the kebab menu, right? It's
Yes.
3 little yummy morsels on a stick, although the stick's invisible. But it reminds you to click on it because it's something good there, or potentially. That opens up some options. I can edit a page, delete a page, or this is the one that I want to do right now. I want to use this page as my front page. So now you can see that this is my front page, whereas before the JC Modern template was my front page. So now that that's my front page, if I go home, we'll no longer see the JC Modern template, but instead we'll see this Meet Your Instructor template, where it says replace this image with the photo. And here, this is a nice stripped down way to make sure that your picture is the very first thing students see. And it's another option for a home page. Any page can be your home page just by choosing it in your home page or in your pages, right? All right. Next thing that I want to talk about after that, setting that, is how do you get something like a template? So let me go back to pages.
That is what is being talked about in the
Is
chat,
it?
Brian.
Awesome.
Yes.
And I'm not looking at
we,
chat, so relying on
yeah,
Sonia to relay this.
yeah, and we never stopped and said, does anyone have any questions about the menu items on the global menu or the course menu? So
I
if
didn't.
anybody
I just
has,
assumed that everyone was getting everything. So please, Sonia, monitor that. Interrupt me if there's anything that I need to deal with.
okay, I'm trying not to be rude, but I felt I needed, does anybody have any questions so far other than what's in the chat? In the chat, they're asking it, is that page already have a home page in it? And then Brian is going to describe where to get these home pages at.
Yes.
And next week, we will have a training all about home pages and selecting what you want to use as your front page, as your home page. So Ebony Watson just mentioned they have a question.
Yeah, so my question is, with the homepage, are you able to have um, the modules and a welcome at the same time, or does it have to be either or?
Sort of either or. Now, one thing that you could do is if you wanted to make the modules as your home page, you can put the very first thing in the module, something like a welcome to this class, this is your instructor kind of thing. You can make that very first page that they see an instructor photo. But if you choose in your home, if you choose as your home page the course modules, this is what students will see when they enter. So what we would recommend in that case, this is, okay, let me say, this is a case where you want to make sure that students are introduced to you through a photo when they first come to your course environment. That's really important in an online class, probably in a hybrid, maybe even in a face-to-face class, because students are going to be seeing your class shell before they come to your physical class. What I would recommend is to use a page as your home page for the first week of class. That way, the first time students enter your class, they're going to see you and a little introduction. And then let them know, hey, after the first week, that welcome and that intro, that's going to be right here in modules, but I'm going to switch our course so that the home page will be modules so you can get right into that work. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll definitely talk about options next week and get into creating some of those. Terrence wants to move forward and see, how do I see the course status? Where are the notifications at for the course status?
All right, so let me go to a different course that actually has some stuff in it, so I can show that to you. Here in my practice course, oh, actually right there,
Yeah.
that's the first place you can look. So in your dashboard, over here is effectively the first view you have of a course status. Now, in this case, it's going to be all of your course statuses, kind of. It's if I'm thinking of what you're thinking of, and that is, look, these are the things that I need to do right here. So I've got some things that I need to grade. So if you want to, you can actually access things that you need to grade right here from your dashboard. Or
well, on your card, if you stay there just for 1 second, on your dashboard card, yes, it shows, so these each of these things are cards. And
yes, these are called cards.
There was just showing the notifications were just showing on there and it went away, but because you clicked on the item.
Yeah.
So it would have little circles on these little icons here. So if there's a discussion or an inbox, there'd be a little circle on the discussion icon in the cards, or maybe there's in the,
like if you look here, you can see the icon for a discussion here.
Meaning
there's an active discussion.
Yeah, there would be a little bubble there.
Yeah.
Also,
and
it was there, but anyway.
I think it's because I've gone in and I've viewed all of the discussions that I don't see that on this class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one place. The other place, if you come into your course, you're going to see things here. Students will see in their course summary things that have due dates right here. They'll see what's going on, or you'll see what's going on over here, your grades, your calendar, and so on in that syllabus. So that's what I think of as that course status, things that need to be done right away. And as Sonia was saying, in your dashboard, maybe it'll show up again now. So some things that need to be done or are upcoming and current.
I can see the little bubbles now. I don't know why they weren't showing a second ago, but
I don't either. All right. Any other questions before I get back into the homepage and then how to import a new homepage template?
Brian, I have a quick question. It's Neil Fenstermaker here. You know how Moodle lays it out? Like you can see the whole entire course, like week by week by week.
Yes.
Can you do that with Canvas, or do you have to keep clicking on different, I guess, tabs? Or can you see the entire page?
You can see the entire page. Let me go back to my dashboard and show you the modules of this class. Well, actually, I'll show you the Canvas training repository, because you should all be in this Canvas training repository. Here's the home page. Nice little button here. Go to this week's module. Sonia created that for us. But look here. Here's everything. Just like in Moodle, you could think of those as the Moodle weeks or sessions or topics. Each module is a week or a topic or a task.
And can you change the word module, or is it always stuck with module?
It's going to be a module forever.
Okay, so you can't say like week 1, week 2, week 3?
Not here. Now, you can put anything you want to right here.
Okay.
So if you wanted to, I don't want to do that in an actual class, so let me go back to dashboard. I'm going to come into my empty class to show you how to edit a module. So in a module, I can edit, and I can call this week 1, or topic 1. I can call this top line, this header, anything I want.
Okay, thank you.
And then if I create another module, I can call it Topic 2, and see, here it is. I can add as many modules as I want. All right, we're going to return to the home page. And as you know, right now I've got the modules as my home page. But if I wanted to create a template, or I wanted to bring in a template and create that as my home page, here's how I do it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Commons. Remember, over here in the global menu, down here is the Commons. That is a sharing space. Sonia has very thoughtfully shared a number of templates with us that we can use here. Let me just look at a few of them. So here is based on the modern template, but this one has some module structure called Research, Define, Do, Share. Here's another modern template-based template with resources, discuss, create, knowledge. Here's one: engage, explore, expand, evaluate, extend, discover, discuss, demonstrate, deepen, and so on. Those are guidelines for how you could create module structure that engage students in those ways with those methodologies or with those organizing metaphors. Here's another template called the black circle square button. And this one is designed to be easily edited by you. Actually, all of these are, so that you can create buttons on your homepage that link students to individual modules and so on. And this is a useful one if you really like the grid structure in Moodle and you want to have what effectively is like a button. Click on the button and that opens that module. This is a way to do that with those templates. Here's another way to do that. These templates are much more advanced and they require some knowledge of XML. And if you have that, then you can do many interesting things with these designs. But if you don't know XML, the learning curve is probably too steep for the benefit. Go to this, which is editable very easily by anyone with simple graphics. So let's say I wanted to bring this template in to my into my course. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look at it. So I click on it to look at it. Notice that Sonia's provided a bunch of different topics in these different shaped buttons. Here are a couple buttons: instructor photo and so on. Right over here in what I would consider the tools area, I just go to import or download. Now I can import it into my course. Be very careful here, because if you click all, that template's going to be in every single course you own. You don't want to do that. You can choose if you only have a few. If you don't have very many, it's easy. But since I have so many, I'm going to look for my empty course, and I hope it's that one. I'm going to import it into the course. To the dashboard. And hopefully this is the empty course that I will now have this in. So now let me go to Pages, View All Pages, and there it is, JC Modern Black Circle Square Buttons template. Yeah, see, I imported it from Commons into my class. Now, as a refresher, how do I make that page my home page? I go to my home page, whatever it is, click on Choose Home Page, choose Pages, save, and now you're going to see the template that I originally brought back into here. I have to go into Pages, View All Pages, and tell Canvas that this is the page that I want to be my home page. So instead of Meet Your Instructor, I'm going to change it here at the kebab menu. Use this front page. That little tag goes up here. Now if I go to Home, I now have this as my home page template. And the nice thing about these templates, you can edit them. It's very easy to edit them. Go into this What You See Is What You Get editor. This is one of the course tools that's very important to know. It's a lot like the Moodle editor. Gives you all the same kinds of things. They're just slightly different locations or icons. But I can change anything I want to here. I can delete this picture, and in its place, I can put in a different picture. I'm going to upload an image. I'm going to upload the image that I use as my default instructor image. And there it is. So now I've put my picture in this course. If I want to, I can bring my syllabus in here. So I'm going to cut that and I'm going to paste it here. And of course, that will rearrange things. So I have to do some editing. Next week, Sonia is going to give us a training all about dealing with these templates and how to edit them and how to link them and so on. But this gives you that kind of option simply by going to Commons, choosing the template you want, importing it into the course where you want it to be, and then choosing it as your home page. Any questions about that?
Brian, could you go over adding an image one more time, please?
Absolutely. So I edit the page. So I'm going to go to here, any page, click on this edit button. This opens the page in this what you see is what you get editor right here. So in this editor, if I want to add an image, let's say I want to put an image right here. I put my cursor where I want the image. I click on the little mountain. I can choose uploaded images, course images, or user images. And I'm going to click here so I can upload an image. I click upload image. It brings me to my typical, since I'm using a PC, Windows folder view or Finder view. And I can choose the picture that I want. Open it. It will show it to me here. It's always a good idea to put in an alt text. And hit submit. And there it will appear. I now hit save. And I have added the image to a page, any page. Other questions?
Yes, we do have a couple. Thank you for that. Could you show what it looks like, what happens to the content when you have a course that's pulled over from Moodle and you added template? What happens to the content that's already in there from the Moodle course?
Oh, okay. So let me go to my dashboard. And I'm looking for a course. Now here's one. So JetReady, you're all familiar with JetReady, which in Moodle is orientation online learning. We are going to be, well, actually we have one currently running called Welcome to Canvas, which is taking over for JetReady. So here is a JetNet shell that has been migrated over. So it has the whole thing, everything that was in that course. Now, if I look at the pages and view all pages, we're going to see right now, look at all these pages. Those were pages that were brought over from Moodle. Notice that it has a course title as a front page if I wanted to use that. And that was, I think, the very first page in that particular class. I don't know that it would function as an actual homepage. See, it just says course title, blah. That was just like a label, I think, in my Moodle course. So I don't want that as my home page. Now let's see what happens when I go to Commons. And I choose, let's just say I'm going to choose this first one called Modern Template 1 with Research, Define, Do, Share.
So Brian, can we
Yes.
talk real quick
Yes.
about the difference between the blue and the orange? The blue
Yeah.
indicates that those are courses where they'll have the homepage plus the modules.
Thank you.
And the orange will only bring in just a page.
That was really smart of whoever thought of that idea. I'm going to instead of the module structure, I'm going to have just the page. So I'm going to grab this one. I look at it. Yep, that's the one I want. I import it, and I'm going to put that into JetReady 458. Boom. Click on import into course. Now I go back to my dashboard. Slide down to my unpublished courses and look for JetReady 458. There it is. Open it up, and nothing so far looks different, right? Still has the module view as the home page. Doesn't have anything else. If I go to pages, view all pages, there's the template right there. I can tell it use this front page. Won't happen yet because my home page, oh yeah, it will, because I set my home page as that. Now I go choose home page and choose pages. So I can bring that up so that this template is now my home page. But nothing else about my course has changed. I have not erased any of the content that had been brought over from Moodle. It's all still there. Everything's the same. The only thing I've done in this case is I have added a page to my pages list. And then, of course, you saw me designate this as my front page. Does that answer your question?
I have one other comment that was mentioned here, is that this is going to take a long time and that people might want to have a sandbox. And that is definitely a good concern. And they wanted to know if they can have a sandbox instead of, I guess they're just asking
Currently,
what's going on.
so currently, a change that we're making is that compared to JetNet is we will not have sandboxes like we had in JetNet. Instead, all lead faculty are responsible for ensuring that they have course content to put into a shelf for you. So there should be, for an adjunct, less work to do to have a class ready and set up and ready to go. And you'll need to work with your lead faculty member to ensure that they have what you're going to need and what they want you to have in your class shell at the start of the term. Now,
And you'll
for
get
training
that.
purposes, we can create a sandbox that's empty, but you won't be able to create a course in that sandbox and then transfer it into the live course shell at this time.
I just put my email over in the chat. If anybody would like to have a sandbox, go ahead and email me. Some of you guys, I can tell in here, you know, what your first and last name is, but some are a guest. So if you could just email me requesting for a sandbox, I can make that for you. And at this point, we do have most everything is transferred over. Just a couple last courses haven't been transferred yet, and the leads will have copies of those. I'm just currently making the second set of copies for those for the lead faculty.
Great. Any other questions before I move on?
In your itinerary, it says something about profile and how to change your profile.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to go back into that.
Certainly. So coming back to where you enter your dashboard or anywhere, you're going to see your global menu. Click on your account. And then you can see that you have things like notifications. I'm going to mention this because it's important. Notifications determine where you get information here. So by default, things that you see a green bell on will go to your email. So there are certain things like announcements, for example, that by default will also go to your email. You can determine what else you want going to your email. For example, if you're wanting to say, hey, I want anytime a submission is made, I want to get an email, you can turn that on. Right now it's off. There are options for what you get. You can have it immediately get an email, a daily summary, which I know a lot of instructors like, a weekly summary, or no notifications, which is what the line through the bell is. So I encourage you to learn about this, figure out where you want notifications to go in Canvas or email or both. And then also tell your students about this, because if you're, this is something we ran into in Moodle all the time, if you're assuming that they're getting an email when you send something through Canvas, it's not necessarily so. You're going to want to make sure that you teach your students how to, for example, get due dates sent to them by their email if that's what you want, or grading policies, or new course content, or whatever it is. Each user has a lot of power over what goes to their email and what doesn't. So I think that's important. So again, notifications. The next one, profile. Your profile is what people can see. It's the public information. And to edit it, you just go to profile, click on the kebabs, click on edit profile. Here is where you can type in your biography. You can click up here. There won't be a picture automatically, but if you want to put a picture, which I recommend, you click on that area, the pencil, and then you can upload a picture. You can take a picture from a webcam. I haven't tried that. So, ready? There I am. I can save that, and I can make that my profile picture here. Thought it would show up. Maybe I broke the camera.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
That's great. You're gonna have to switch it back.
Oh, well, I'll fix that later. Maybe it's taking time to process. I don't know.
Well, it does take, Canvas does say that uploads of images for profile or major changes like that will take up, could possibly take up to 2 hours. Because that's your account information, not just the course information.
So we'll wait and see what happens. Maybe it'll come in by the end of our session. Files, like I've mentioned before, you can see files in the course. Here are all of your files, including files from every course that you have. Since I have a lot of courses, you can see I have a lot of folders here with files from those courses. So the idea here is that in Canvas, you can share files between courses if you want to. So if you have a common image that you want to use multiple courses, it's easier to access them that way. Okay, back to account. Oh, hey, I see a picture showing up here. Maybe there it is. It just took a time to upload. All right, so back to account, files, settings, shared content, Bibliu. Now this is interesting. I played with this today. Let's see if it still does it. This seems to provide me, and normally I never have any books when I click on Bibliu, but it's showing me these books. These are books that I've accessed when I was acting as other people. So for some reason, Canvas remembers that, and I'm wondering if it will remember accessing. Yeah, it does. That's interesting.
Bibliu calls that their dashboard. That's on the course menu.
Yep.
Where the Bibliu course menu, they call that, where you access it from that menu, is considered your Bibliu dashboard. So just like we have the dashboard in Canvas, Bibliu inserts its own dashboard, but the access to a course book would be placed in the module, not just that dashboard for Bibliu.
So when I go to Bibliu in any normal course, I usually don't see anything. I often get an error or like, nothing to connect. But here, oh, look at that. It's giving me books. That's so interesting to me because that's normally not happening. All right, so back to my Bibliu. Folio is a portfolio system. QR for mobile login. Cue your students in. The reports we're getting is that the app for Canvas for students works really well. I don't like it because it doesn't give me any administrator tools. It's teacher good, students good, administrators not so good. and then global announcements. Those are announcements that are made by Sonia and I or other people with admin access. Does that answer that, Sonia? Anything else?
Yeah, I believe so. If you would like to go a little bit deeper into discussions and quizzes, I guess that would be the only two things still on the itinerary.
Very good. So let me go into my empty courses. First thing that I'm going to do though is notice that here I have a lot of menu items that are grayed out or the eyeball is crossed out, and that means students can't see that. I need to point out student view. We should probably add that to our itinerary because that's a really important tool up here. The student view gives you a view of what your class looks like to students. Notice how all those menus went away. That's because I've hidden them from students. If I leave the student view, boom, there they are. Now, I haven't gone into depth about this one here, settings. Settings is how you can change the menus. When you come to settings, it gives you the course settings. You go to navigation, and then it's just a drag and drop. So if you want students to see stuff in Studio or create things in Studio, you can add that to that list just by dragging and dropping. Let's say that you want the syllabus here, you just bring it back up so that students will be able to see it. When you made your changes, hit save. Going home. Now, if I look at student view, now they have the syllabus access. So that's something that's important to know. All right, leaving the student view, let's talk about creating things for your class. First way we're going to do it kind of like the Moodle brain would do it. We're going to go to modules. And in modules, in my topic 2, I'm going to start adding content. I'm going to click here, this little plus sign. And now I'm going to add stuff to that module or to that session, that topic, that week. Here I have this configuration drop down or a pop-up window, and I have choices. I can add an assignment, I can add a quiz, I can add a file, I can add a page, I can add a discussion, and so on. So just like in Moodle, when you click on add activity or resource, and then you get that whole listing of all the activities and resource types, it's kind of like that. So let's say that I want to first add an assignment. Now, if I have assignments in the course, they'll show up here. So I can click on it and add an assignment that's already in the course. Or I can click here to create an assignment. I'll give that a name. I'll use something pretty creative like assignment 1. And then I can tell it if I wanted to indent it, meaning in the module view, slide it over to help give it a kind of a tree or a ranking. And then I click add item. So now you can see in my module 2, now that I've called topic 2, I have an assignment. Now that assignment has nothing really in it. So I click on it and it's like here, there's nothing here. So I have to edit that assignment. I could change the name if I want to. And here, just like in Moodle, this is an assignment. I can tell it, I can give instructions, I can provide information that tells students what they have to do with this assignment and go on to configure it.
There's
I can
another
determine.
course. We have about 5 minutes left.
Oh my goodness, time flies.
And yes, it does. And we do have another course on how to add all of this content. So I wanted to make sure any questions were answered in the meantime. So Brian, if you could, in the end or as you're going through this, go back and emphasis on the edit button in these assignment in this assignment, and then in the discussion, how to edit a discussion, how to add a discussion and then edit that discussion. Great. Since the 2 buttons are different, please.
Yep. So assignments here, and now I have an assignment. So a discussion, same thing. If you want, you can add a discussion via the module. Click here, add a discussion, create topic. Discussion 1, add item. Now my discussion appears here. I can click on it. And here's where I can do what I need to do in terms of editing
if you notice, the discussion had a kebab at the far right to edit.
Yes.
And the assignment had a button.
Thank you. That is a difference in interface. So here, instead of an edit button somewhere, I had to click on the kebab and then do edit. Now, another thing, if I go to, instead, remember, I did that for modules, but if I want to, I can also go to discussions. And now I can create a discussion. And I'm already in the edit function. To do that, I went to discussions and then added a discussion. And then I can configure it in a variety of ways. I can tell it anonymous, et cetera, and so on and so forth.
Okay,
Save it.
thank you. I have a couple more requests from you if we can get these in the next 4 minutes.
Yes.
We've had people ask where the videos will be displayed after this and about the schedule
So on your
of
dashboard,
this training.
assuming that you clicked on in the announcement, clicked on this Canvas training repository link, you now have that in your dashboard. So if you go to the Canvas training repository in your dashboard, and then go to modules, we're going to be putting the newest training right here on top. So today we're doing Canvas Basics. Here are upcoming training dates. The schedule you will find right here.
Can you click on that real quick and discover what date, since I don't have them all memorized, grade book. Which day are we doing grade book?
All right. Assignment grouping will include a gradebook component because that will be about creating grade groups and weighting. Here is
That's on
one that
October
is
14.
the
Or, yeah,
focus
October
is
14.
on gradebook.
And that is November 18th. If you guys are, we'll put those dates down, and they're both at 10 a.m. also. And then if you can go back and look at and show where the videos will be displayed.
Right, so
from the
back in the
report.
modules, right here, the second link in this module, this is where we'll be putting the training videos. All right, current class is here, and you'll notice that Sonia has included in the current class, of course, the register here. Check there for the questions that were asked ahead of time and answers. You will also see that there was the link for the video or the meeting. And then here are some resources, including a video of the prior training and a basics course provided by Canvas and so on. And down here, we've got a lot of resources. So if you're looking for something, you might find it here in the training repository. You know, there's one last thing I wanted to point out. I know we're probably getting close to time, but that is Ally. Ally is a new tool. I'm so excited about it. I have to talk about it any chance I get. So Ally is an accessibility tool. You'll find it here in your course menu. When you click on that, this is an accessibility report. This tells you any problem with accessibility that exists in your class. All you have to do is click on it, and then you can begin working to resolve any issues related to accessibility in your course. In addition, and this is the thing that makes it so powerful, in every module, in every assignment, and so on, when a student clicks on something, if there is text and so on, that's scary. Oh, where? Page 64. Right here, this little A for Ally button. This provides alternative formats without you having to do anything. So if you have a student who has accessibility needs or just wants a different format, they can click on that A. Anytime they see that, they can get an EPUB, so they can put it on their iPad or another reader. They can get a Braille version, electronic Braille, an audio version, which will be a machine text to speech, a Beeline reader, which is designed for easier reading, and an immersive reading, which is a new feature, and so on. You don't have to do anything, and we've already included this new tool that provides some accessibility features. It's really, so I'm really jazzed about it, so I like to talk about that. Okay, so that'll wrap us up for today. Are there any questions that we want on video? And then I'll stick around and do Q&A as long as you want, but that will be off video.
I've put in my email address, and I've also put in Brian's email address. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, please reach out to us. And to finish this up, while we're, while people are leaving, if you could put on the recording how to add an external tool such as Bibliu.
All right. So in my modules, I will add, let me go back to my empty course. In my modules, I'm going to add something to my module. I'm going to choose an external tool from my dropdown, and Bibliu is one of those tools. I click on it and click Add Item, and that will bring Bibliu into a module.
Thank you.
That's all there's to it.
Thank you. That was the only last thing that I had.
Very good. Now
Brian?
I'm going to, yes.
Once the meeting's officially over, I have a question for you about the fiasco of Pearson for the 131 course. I guess I'll just ask it and you can think about it if you don't have an answer. I'm wondering if